It's the classic debate, Krav Maga versus mixed martial arts. Two worlds, two mindsets, and two very different approaches to what it means to fight. On one side, you have a system forged in the fires of real-world violence, designed for survival above all else. On the other, a sport that's become the ultimate test of athleticism, skill, and strategy inside the cage. What happens when street survival collides with the art of combat sports? When the unpredictable chaos of the street meets the calculated intensity of the octagon, the result is a fascinating clash of priorities and tactics. You're not just comparing techniques, you're comparing philosophies. Krav Maga is about doing whatever it takes to walk away alive, while MMA is about outsmarting and outlasting an opponent under a strict set of rules. One is about ending a fight instantly, by any means necessary, using aggression, surprise, and even the environment as weapons. The other is about dominating a skilled opponent within rules, pushing the body to its peak, and mastering a blend of striking, grappling, and endurance. Context is everything. What works in a cage might not work in a dark alley. An MMA cage is controlled. Referee, rounds, rules. Every move is scrutinized, and safety is always a consideration. No biting, no eye gouging, no groin strikes. The rules are there to protect the fighters and ensure a fair contest. The street? No rules, no honor code. It's chaos, and the only goal is survival. Anything goes, and hesitation can be deadly. Krav Maga was born in that chaos. Life or death situations where quick thinking and brutal efficiency are the difference between walking away or not. So, does the specialist in chaos beat the master of controlled combat? Or does the athlete who's trained to endure punishment and adapt under pressure have the edge? MMA fighters argue they're superior athletes, pressure-tested against elite competition, and able to handle adversity in the heat of battle. Krav Maga practitioners counter that rules create habits that could be fatal in a real fight. They train for unpredictability, for the sucker punch, for the weapon you never see coming. We're diving into the origins, training, and core principles of both. How did these systems evolve? And what do they really prepare you for? This isn't about crowning a winner. It's about understanding the strengths and weaknesses each brings when the gloves are off. Let's break it down and see what happens when the worlds of street and sport collide. Krav Maga isn't a sport. It's not about medals, trophies, or even the thrill of competition. Instead, it's a system built for the harshest realities, where the only rule is survival. When you step onto the mat in a Krav Maga class, you're not preparing for a match. You're preparing for the unpredictable chaos of the real world. It was created for survival, not competition. Every drill, every technique, is designed to give you a fighting chance when the odds are stacked against you. Developed by Emil Lichtenfeld in the 1930s, Krav Maga was born out of necessity. Lichtenfeld, a boxer and wrestler, crafted it to help his community defend against violent street attacks. The system was forged in the fires of real violence, multiple attackers, weapons, chaos, and no time to hesitate. Later, it became the backbone of Israeli military training, adopted by the IDF to prepare soldiers for the unpredictable dangers of combat and urban warfare. The philosophy: survive at all costs. There's no room for hesitation or half measures. Techniques are brutal: groin strikes, eye gouges, and other moves that target the body's most vulnerable points. Throat shots, moves banned in MMA for a reason, are standard here because in a life-or-death struggle, effectiveness trumps sportsmanship. Krav Maga assumes you're at a disadvantage, maybe outnumbered or ambushed. That's why you're taught to attack the most vulnerable targets: eyes, throat, groin, to escape or incapacitate your attacker as quickly as possible. Training is scenario-based, simulating stress, confusion, and adrenaline dumps. The goal is to make these brutal responses instinctive, so you don't freeze when it matters most. It's not about points or belts. It's about ugly, effective solutions that work when nothing else will. The focus is always on practicality, not tradition. The downside? There's no universal standard for pressure testing. Some schools push students to their limits, while others keep things relatively safe and controlled. Some Krav Maga schools produce hardened fighters ready for real violence, others, not so much. The difference often comes down to how much real resistance and stress is built into the training. Unlike MMA, there's no guarantee every practitioner has faced real resistance. In MMA, live sparring is a given, but in Krav Maga, it varies widely from school to school. Effectiveness depends on the quality and realism of the training. The best Krav Maga schools push students to deal with chaos, unpredictability, and real aggression. Without live, resisting opponents, skills can remain untested, and confidence can outpace actual ability. That's a gap MMA fills by default, making it a crucial difference between the two worlds of self-defense and combat sports. Now, the MMA fighter, a different animal entirely. In the world of combat sports, few athletes are as complete, as versatile, or as relentlessly tested as the modern mixed martial artist. MMA blends the world's best fighting styles. Muay Thai's devastating strikes, boxing's crisp punches, wrestling's powerful takedowns, and the intricate submissions of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Each discipline brings its own strengths, and fighters must master them all to survive at the highest level. Today's fighters are elite athletes, conditioned to the extreme. Their training regimens push the limits of human endurance, demanding speed, strength, and stamina that rival Olympic competitors. Gone are the days of single-style dominance. Now, it's all about being well-rounded. Fighters must seamlessly transition between striking, grappling, and clinch work, adapting to any situation their opponent throws at them. Training is relentless: striking, grappling, strength, and endless sparring. Every day is a test, and only the most dedicated survive the grind. Constant pressure testing against skilled opponents weeds out what doesn't work. Techniques are refined through trial and error, and weaknesses are exposed and addressed in real time. MMA fighters adapt on the fly, standing, clinching, or on the ground. Their ability to switch tactics in a split second is what sets them apart from traditional martial artists. They're calm under fire, used to real resistance, and know how to impose their will. Years of live sparring teach them to stay composed, even when the pressure is on. But they're creatures of rules. No groin shots, no eye gouges, no weapon defense. The cage is a controlled environment with referees and regulations to keep things fair and safe. These habits could be liabilities in a street fight. The instincts drilled into them for safety and sportsmanship can become weaknesses when chaos erupts outside the cage. A takedown is great in the cage, but risky on concrete with multiple attackers. The environment changes everything. Hard surfaces, unpredictable threats, and no one to stop the fight. The sport's safety net doesn't exist on the street. That's the trade-off. Unmatched skill and conditioning, but always within the boundaries of the cage. Outside, the rules change, and so does the game. Picture a no-rules fight. Bare room, no ref, no time limit. The only thing that matters is survival, not points or judges. The MMA fighter uses range, footwork, and looks for a technical win, relying on years of disciplined training. The Krav Maga practitioner explodes instantly, aiming for the eyes or groin, seeking to end the fight before it truly begins. If that first dirty move lands, the fight could end in seconds, leaving no chance for a comeback. That's Krav Maga's edge, targeting vulnerabilities MMA never trains for, exploiting every weakness. But if the MMA fighter survives the blitz, their technical skills take over, shifting the momentum. In the clinch or on the ground, their experience dominates, controlling the chaos. The fight's outcome hinges on those opening moments. It's disruption versus discipline. Whoever adapts faster and seizes the initiative wins. Technique matters, but size and strength are huge factors. The myth of the tiny master beating a giant, rarely true. Early UFCs showed technique could beat size until everyone caught up. Today's MMA fighters combine elite skill with freakish athleticism. Physicality is a massive advantage. Most Krav Maga practitioners aren't pro athletes, they're regular people training for self-defense. Pitting them against a full-time MMA fighter is a mismatch. Even with deadly techniques, can they land them against someone faster, stronger, and more explosive? The MMA fighter's athleticism can shut down dirty tactics before they start. Strength and conditioning matter as much as skill. In a real fight, physical superiority often tips the scales. That's reality. Experts see both sides. Firas Zahabi, coach to Georges St. Pierre, says sport fighting is amazing, but the street brings new dangers: pavement, weapons, multiple attackers. He values Krav Maga's situational awareness, even if he favors MMA athletes. MMA purists argue that being a monster in the cage is the best street defense. Knock out threats before they get close. Krav Maga instructors stress mental conditioning for chaos and survival, not fair fights. They believe MMA fighters might freeze in true street violence, especially if weapons appear. Most experienced coaches agree. MMA fighters are superior athletes, but Krav Maga covers crucial gaps: weapon defense, multiple attackers, illegal strikes. The ideal? An MMA athlete with Krav Maga's mindset and tactics, a hybrid fighter. That's the ultimate threat. So who wins, Krav Maga or MMA? The real answer? It depends. If the Krav Maga fighter lands a perfect shot early, they win. If the MMA fighter weathers it, they win. The fight is decided in seconds. The real lesson isn't about which style is better, it's about adaptability. MMA's strength is adapting in unarmed, one-on-one combat. Krav Maga's is surviving chaos, multiple attackers, weapons, no rules. The best fighter blends both physical conditioning, technical skill, and ruthless street tactics. True mastery is being ready for any scenario. In the end, it's not the style but the fighter's preparation, aggression, and adaptability that decide who walks away. The smartest move? Learn from both, because in the real world, the more tools you have, the better your odds.